Dun, da, da. Welcome to the Neo webinar. I'm Ashley James. I'm head of enterprise accounts and sales for North America for Foyr. And I'm really excited to kind of go over a couple of residential type things that I know that you guys are learning right now at Rocky Mountain. And hopefully I'll be able to answer any questions that you have so that you'll be able to use Neo to make your life just a little bit easier with designing and creating really cool things. So first off, this is your Neo dashboard. So when you first log into neo.foyr.com, this is where all of your projects that you create are going to live. And you can change the name of them. You can duplicate projects as well if you want to just keep recreating and changing things. That's no problem. And I opened up a couple of different things based on what we're going to go over today. So residential design, lighting, and materials. Welcome. And so this was a space that I started working on that was just kind of like a typical, well, not a typical, but kind of a fun bathroom. I have another bathroom in here because bathrooms are always a good thing that a lot of the contractors and designers that we work with typically work with. And this is a full first floor build for a developer out here in the Northeast that I started working with. So we can kind of play with this as well. I can kind of show you a couple of different ways to change up showing elevations when it comes to drop ceilings and even a landing for like a staircase and playing with kitchens and all that kind of stuff. So why don't we go ahead and start with some of that. So part of, to be honest, Neo is definitely geared more towards residential, just no doubt about it. Our catalog is full of mostly residential pieces. There's over 55,000 3D modeled pieces in our catalog, which are going to be right up here. You have everything set up by different category, but you can also do just basic search as well right up here. And so really with your classes right now that you're learning about residential design and stuff, you're not going to have a hard time finding pieces that are going to help build that space out. For instance, this kitchen, while this island was already, a piece that's built in our catalog, we also have separate pieces as well. So each of these cabinets are a single piece. You can see that they're broken up. So you can build out entire spaces as well. This sink over here is one piece. So you can see that some pieces are like one collection and other pieces are separated so you can customize to get the exact look that you're working for. And also I kind of just like the look of that fridge, so I just duplicated it. So it looks like a massive Smeg, like French door fridge, even though it's not. But we do have a lot of different types of appliances and brands and stuff in there as well. So you're able to do a lot with that. And honestly, a lot of this is just going to be exploring the catalog and just trying to find different pieces that work for what you're looking for. And also, we're kind of floating out. Also, just remember that everything in our catalog, you can edit. Every single thing in our catalog, you can change. So it's not you having to build a piece out. So let's, I'm going to zoom in on this island so that we can kind of play with it. Oops. And moving it around. Oh, let me admit you. Hello, welcome to the party, Crystal Moore. All right, so this is just a, kind of a fun wood and marble island with some brass poles on it. Now, once you've selected a piece, like a 3D modeled piece of furniture, you have a couple options. You can see you've got the push and pull options for where to like move it. You can rotate it right up here on your toolbar. You can resize it, which turns it into more of a cube. So you have the options of changing up like how, where you want that to be. You can even clone it if you want to, if you want multiples. That was great use for when I was adding on these bar stools. But edit properties is going to be a really useful piece for you. And since you guys already are learning or already know how to create 3D modeled pieces with some of the software that you're using, you're going to see this is pretty familiar. These are all of the components that create this piece. And this one's kind of complicated. Sometimes you'll find things as just one element, and then other things are going to be more complicated like this. So you can see that this white marble is for the texture of the countertop of this island. And you can see that all of this wood texture is for each of the different types of panels. And obviously the brass is for the handles. So let's say that we wanted to change the material on the top. That's not a problem. So for me, I'm going to go into my textures and I am going to look up, I'm just going to look up marble and find a different one. You could also go into like the different categories as well, but this is just a quick way for you to kind of take a look. And there's a bunch of different ones. Why don't we make it, I'm going to go with this Everest Marble High Glossy. That sounds like fun. I like to hit the heart so that it gets added to my short list. It doesn't matter if you love everything and add it all to your short list, but that way you don't have to go back and try and find it. It just makes it a little bit easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click it, I'm going to drag it, and I'm going to drop it right over where I want it to be. And that's going to apply. And as you see, we're going to need to scale it. Some things in your textures will automatically be the right scale. It just kind of works out that way. But for this, we're going to need to adjust it. So I clicked on it, I hit edit properties, and I found the object part, which is the top right there. You can see that's the black. And now I'm going to change it. And I honestly, I'm not good at scale. Y'all probably know how to do scale a lot easier than I do. You're probably learning about it. I am not a designer. I am a real estate person. So that's where I come from. But this is just a quick way for me to be able to scale it so it looks right in the image. And so I unclick this. This gives me what the actual space tiles need to be. So I click on this again and I adjust it to 7 and 7, if that makes sense. There we go. Now you can see the marble, which is kind of cool. Now, obviously, this isn't always going to be absolutely accurate. So make sure that if you are designing with actual textures and stuff out there, that you look up what the actual scale of those pieces are. Specifically, if you're working with something with like a tile or a wallpaper or stuff, typically with, especially online, the design details of that material will have the scale info, and you'll be able to enter that in here so you can get the most, like the closest possible of what that's going to look like. Now, here's another thing to that point. If we don't have a texture in our catalog of textures of what you want to work with, you can apply your own, which is kind of cool. So the way to do that is you need to be able to save a high quality image from online, or if you've created a texture or a pattern or something, it just needs to be a high quality image, and then you save it to your computer. And then once you decide on where you want to apply that texture, you click on that object or the wall or the floor or the piece of furniture, whatever it is. Actually, why don't we apply it to this guy? You're going to hit edit properties for a piece of furniture. You're going to find the part that you want to apply the new texture to. And I've got one right there, but I'm going to hit new texture right here. And I am going to grab, this one's like really loud and fun, so we're just going to open this one up. And that's going to show up right here. And this is just a fabric that, actually I think it's a wallpaper from Katie Kime. She's a designer out of Austin, Texas. I think she's still in Austin, Texas. But anyway, she does a bunch of funky, cool like designs and stuff. So I just saved this fabric online. So now you see, actually the reason why these three all change at the same time is because I cloned one of the bar stools twice. So that's another point. If you ever clone something, anything you do to one of them will happen to all of them, which is a great time saver. But if you want them all to be different, just make sure that you just drag and drop a new bar stool each time. So it's just up to you. So that's great. So again, you can change up the scale of this if you need to. If you need to offset the design, this is great for that. So you can see you can move it, which is kind of cool. That was something new. You can even rotate it, which is great. Rotating is actually really great if you're working with like different designs. Like this floor is fun. So let me show you how to do this. So if you wanted to rotate the direction that the floor is flowing, you're going to hit the shift button on your keyboard, and then you're going to click on the floor. And you see now it's highlighted. It's the same for a wall. Shift, click. And so it's highlighted. That's how you adjust the properties of those, because they're not like a piece of furniture that you immediately click on and you get an option. So I've clicked on the floor, I hit edit properties, and now I can change it. So I can rotate it, which is kind of cool. And I can bring it back. Or I can change where it's lining up. You can just kind of go crazy with it. You can add, you know, lemons on the floor. Oh God, we don't want to do that. That's bad. Don't do that. But anyways, you can have a lot of fun with it and just kind of, you know, keep playing with the space until you get where you want it to be. So that's how you kind of manipulate some of these like pieces, change up the textures and stuff to get them how you want them to get. Actually, I'm just going to leave that because it's fun. The cabinetry in the kitchen, all of these are separate pieces. I did change up the colors on these, and just like I applied a different texture to the countertop on the island, it's just the same. Everything is just click, drag, and drop. So actually, in my short list, I have a couple of different textures. So I've got kind of like a off-white color on those. I could go with like an ice gray color, or I can just click, drag, and drop that over. If that'll come over, come with me. There you go. Now you can't really see that here. Let me do the navy. Navy. Sorry, my computer is lagging a little bit. There we go. And see, I cloned those. So again, that's why it dropped over. Sometimes if you're working on something like this, you can see this has a kind of a bevel to it. So I would have to make sure that I got really close in there to make sure that I got all of it. So again, just click, drag, and drop it over. And then just hover your actual mouse, not just the cube, but the mouse over the exact point that you want to change. And see, now it's perfect. The same goes for playing with like the knobs for the hardware and stuff. You want to make sure that you're directly over the point of what you want to change. Come on. Third time's a charm. There we go. Boom. And so those happen too. So that's changing those kind of textures and playing with those materials. And again, you really just have to kind of explore the catalog and just, you know, kind of figure out different things that you want. We're going to take a look at a couple of different fridges that we have. And sometimes a word will pop up, or like, you know, images of things will pop up and you're like, oh, that's not what I was looking for. But like, you know, is that a blue blanket? That doesn't really go with the fridge. Maybe it's related somehow because it's cold. I don't know. But sometimes things don't always like add up. But as you can see, we have a ton of different fridge appliances, commercial ones as well. And then it starts getting crazy with like friends and stuff like that. So, but there's a bunch of different things in here for you to play with. And that's just using the search option. You can also go into the actual catalog and take a look at stuff that we have in here. Excuse me. So as you can see, there's a bunch of different pieces when it comes to building out kitchens that you can use in your space. We've added more of open shelving units, as well as, you know, different types of cabinetry options and different hardware options. So I will say that if you have a cabinet or a piece of furniture or anything that has hardware on there already, you cannot take that piece of hardware off. So you cannot take that style of knob, like, or pull whatever off, but you can change the color of the material. So if you don't want that to be that brass, you can make it whatever color you want it to be. You could even make it look like a mirror element. We have a lot of different types of textures in there for you to play with, materials and stuff. You just have to go through them and just click, drag, and drop until you get the look that you're looking for. But if you find a cabinet that doesn't have any hardware on it, you can take some of the hardware that we have in here and add it. So we do have some. It's not a huge amount just yet, but it's building every day. Our design team is awesome. So, like, for instance, like these, you could very easily apply hardware to those. So, and you can change up, obviously the color of them, what the material seems like, and that kind of stuff. Same goes with some cabinets and things will already have countertops added on, and some won't. Some will have sinks already added on, some won't. Some are built in with stoves. That one's cool. I haven't seen that one. That one has like a little fridge. So there's a lot of things that are either already built or pieces so that you can build exactly what you're trying to create. So that's for like a kitchen. So that's kind of fun. And obviously staging items are always fun. So like, fruit bowls and plates and all that kind of stuff. We even have a cat and a dog, which I always like to tell people. Oh, and we have people now, like people. Like, I think there's like a dude in a suit, which is kind of cool. So I crack myself up. So the next thing I kind of want to go over with y'all, which is a bit tricky, but it's something that you need to know, if you haven't already figured it out with Neo, is that we, as a software and platform so far, we do not have the capability to allow you to create multiple floors or multiple levels. So like a subfloor, a basement, main level, third floor, fourth floor, you can't do that yet, but you will. We're almost there. We're about 60% of the way there on the tech, but we're not quite there yet. How you can achieve what I have right here is by hacking it. And I'm going to show you how to hack it, which is one of the things I love to do. All right, so first off, let me start with this drop ceiling. So the first thing, the main thing I wanted to show with this space when I was creating it for this developer was that they are really big on having these grand entrances with like the big open like entryway, and you have a bit of a landing, and then you have like a drop ceiling with like additional like lighting and stuff like that. I wanted to show them that it was possible to create this in Neo. And the way to accomplish the majority of anything custom like that is by going into your catalog under building and playing with shapes. And this is where all of your molding, so here's building and here's shapes. This is the money right here. This is the stuff that you are typically doing in the other programs that you're working with now to create specific custom pieces like millwork or specific fun curved designs and all like that, like in the ceiling and drop ceilings and acoustics and all that. It's all going to be here. And I'm sorry, my vocab for design is very limited because, again, I'm not a designer, but I have fun. So you have a couple of different pieces. So the thing about shapes, other than the obvious things like baseboards or skirtings, cornices and crown molding and all of that, obvious acoustic pieces and stuff, is that you have just geometric shapes that are either going to be docked to your ceiling, your wall, or your floor. And they will be labeled wall docked, ceiling docked, or floor docked. If you just want to do a basic search for that, I'm going to do ceiling docked. All of the pieces that are docked to the ceiling are going to show up. Now, one of the wonderful things that my team just recently did was they added this type of shape, which I love because every single side is separated as an object part. So you can change the color and material of every single flat surface, which is great when you're creating like a drop ceiling and you want the actual ceiling part to be white and then maybe the side part to be like the taupe of the wall. So you're able to achieve like multiple looks with one piece. And that's a great way to hack it. That's what I love to do. You can create beams, you can create pillars, you can do all kinds of fun things. I've created a coffee table to make it look like a big chunk of marble. There's a lot of really fun things that you can do with this. You just kind of have to imagine it and then just start playing with it. So let me go back. So that's what I did to create this dropped ceiling right here. This is just a ceiling docked cube. That's all that is. As you can see, it's one piece. And you can't see it when I go up high, but it goes all the way over because I wanted it to drop in here too for whatever reason, but that's what I did. Now this was the solid cube, so I couldn't change the colors on each side. The only color that it has is like this neutral gray color that I applied to the entire piece. But another great thing about these shapes is you can then apply things to them, like lighting, which is kind of cool. So it doesn't just disappear in the ceiling, it actually shows up here. So I can click on this guy and clone it. I can drag him right over here. Any questions so far? You guys doing okay?
Yeah, that's really helpful.
Okay, cool. Good.
And actually really quick. You can't make a room out of that box though, right? That the software hasn't been updated to that, where you could look inside of the box and create a room inside of that box just yet.
You can, let me see what you mean by that. Here we are in 2D. This is where you start with any project. And what I did is I literally just took the room tool and I made a box. And so you have two options. You can either draw out a floor plan. Oops, let me click it. There we go. You can either draw out a floor plan like that using the square room tool or the wall tool. Those are single walls. Or you can upload a floor plan. Now, if you've created a floor plan like in AutoCAD or whatever, that's fine. Just do a screenshot of it. It does not matter the quality of the image as long as it's clear enough for you to see it. And then you can upload it. It just needs to be an image file. You can upload it from your computer into Neo. And then, so you'll just open a new project, upload the floor plan. And then the next step is you have to trace over the walls. So let's say this was the floor plan that I just uploaded. So I would then either take the room tool or the wall tool, and I would just trace over those walls. And there's a bit of AI in there that's going to help make sure everything clicks correctly. But even before it uploads, there's an option for you to scale it. So you just need one dimension from one wall to another, even if it's like an interior really small wall, like a powder room or something. You just need one dimension. Make sure you have whichever, feet meters, whatever, that's all clear. And then the entire space will scale. So everything that you pull for our catalog, everything will scale to what dimension you've put in there because everything will be equal, give or take. So, but yes, I guess I think answering your question, you can start with a box. Here's your box, and then create from there. So here's our box. The first thing I ever do whenever you start from this level is I always start with building pieces. So you go into your building and you click on either windows or doors. I have a couple things saved in here, so on my short list. So let's pull this window, click, drag, and drop. And you grab this door, click, drag, and drop. You can then edit these if you need to. So you can adjust the size of them specifically. You can change the raise from the floor for the window. Everything automatically starts in feet as your unit of measurement, but you can always adjust it as well if you need to. And you can also flip them vertically, horizontally, whatever. We also have a ruler over here. So that's really important. So if you do have an original floor plan in here and you need to make sure that things like windows or doors or even certain types of walls and stuff are correct for spacing, then you can actually measure them with this ruler and make sure that those things are correct. So anyways, and then you can adjust the size on that. And then No, you're fine. Yeah, definitely. So here, let me get out of this one. I got lost. Where are you? There we go. Let me go in here. So what you would do is you would click on the door. Let me get closer to it so you can see. So you click on the door, hit edit properties, and you're going to hit vertical. Whoops. Wait. Well, you can switch it from side to side. Sometimes a door doesn't have a knob on the other side, so it'll make it show that it's just like it's different. But yeah, horizontal is gonna drop it from side to side. It also depends on, honestly, on the model. Sometimes it'll reflect differently, how it adjusts in the space, but it also depends on the width of your wall and the width of the door, which you can always change. That it's typically going to be length for door. That's just how it kind of shows up for like the depth of it. So if you need to make that door a bit deeper or, smaller, depending on the width of your wall of how you set that, you can always adjust that too. So any kind of adjustment you need to make to something that you've added to the space, you either click on it if it's clickable. So like the door is clickable, the toilet's clickable. These are all pieces that we click, dragged, and dropped into. Anything from the original of 2D, so your walls and your floors, you click shift on your, and you hold it on your keyboard, and then you take your mouse and you click on the thing that you want to adjust. And that's going to be your floor, your wall. You can hit edit properties. You can change your texture. Whoa, that's crazy. That one's kind of fun. You can add new textures. You can do all that kind of stuff. So you can have fun with it. Cool. All right, so back to playing with a drop. So the way that I was able to achieve this was that when I was in 2D, the way to adjust your ceiling height. So here's an original floor plan that I drew out using the room tool and the single wall tool to get it as close as possible. You can even adjust the thickness of a wall. So I can click on this wall, I can hit edit properties, and I can adjust the thickness so that it looks even more representative of what's in the actual foam. So you see now that's a bit thinner as well. And that's going to affect, things that you put on there. So let's say if you were to put a door on there, you need to make sure that it's not too deep of a door to fit on there. Otherwise you need to edit it. But anyway, so adjusting the ceiling height, it's always going to be a standard 10 feet in Neo. But I changed it to 20 feet, and that will apply to the entire project. So whatever your standard of height is for one wall is going to be for all of the walls. And so that can be good, and it can also be bad depending on what you're trying to achieve. But if you want to be able to show multiple levels, this is how you achieve that. So you adjust it to be the highest height that you want it to be. And then you take a ceiling docked piece and you edit it to place to be exactly where you need it to be in the space. So what I did is I flipped the space upside down so I could see it. And I zoomed out a bit. And then, so I placed it. It was a tiny little square. I placed it, hit edit properties, and then I adjusted the height to be 10 foot 7 inches. So that was as much of a drop as I wanted to be. So that way, the actual ceiling height of this space over here would be 9 something, right? Yes. Thank you. Ooh, I hate math. There we go. 9 something. So that would be the kitchen height. The kitchen ceiling height would be 9 something. Where over here in the living space, that's 20 feet. But then that's how you make that happen. So that's kind of fun. And again, you can dock things on the cube, which is great. If you do the cube that's multiple colors, like of greens and blues, you can change every flat surface to be a different color, which is super cool. And I wish I had done that, which I probably will after this call. The next thing that I did that was kind of fun was I took some wall docked shapes and I created a landing. Now, I don't think this is structurally sound. I need to double check the space. That looks a little too narrow for me. Let's see, how big is that? I think that's probably way too small. Oh, I can't even see it. Yeah, I can't see it. That's okay. I probably made it too small, but that's okay. I just wanted the look. So you guys probably have to be a little bit more specific. So sorry, but you can make it happen. This is how we do it. So this long ways is one piece, and this is another piece. And again, these are the trusty, you can see, wall docked cube that I see. That's what it looked like. So basically what I did is I just docked it to one piece and then I adjusted, I resized it. So I clicked resize so that it turned into the cube. Come on. There you go. Now you can see all there's a little bit of adjustment with angles to be able to get where you want it to be. But once you do, then you can adjust where it goes. So you can kind of adjust this that way or the other way until you achieve what you're trying to create. So that's how I created the landing. So even though we can't actually create multiple floors, you can create the look of multiple levels by doing that. Because as you can see, the stairway just kind of dead ends. I think I had to for it to be docked because this piece has to be docked to enough wall space to actually hold. Otherwise, it'll just keep floating around. But in the future, you will have more options when it comes to levels and showing elevation and stuff. This is just where we're at right now. Now, what I would do in this space, if you wanted to even kind of have if you wanted to do like an exterior photo, I'd probably drop multiple lights from the ceiling right here so that they would show like cool chandeliers or something. So if I wanted to take a photo from outside, it would look like multiple levels instead of like doors just floating. So those like lights would hang from both, but that's just kind of like an extra thing to do. So that's just kind of a hack way to create multiple levels for like a residential space, which is kind of fun. Do y'all have any questions based on this one so far? Okay, awesome. You guys are awesome. All right, the next thing we're going to look at is lighting. Lighting is so much fun. I love lighting. I love lighting. All right, so this was a space that I started to work with. I steal a lot of ideas from Instagram. And I just try to like, I see a picture and then I try to recreate it. So that bathroom's kind of like off of one of the Instagrams I looked at. I started actually creating this fun outdoor space too, which I'm proud of. Again, wall dock shapes. Yay. That's how you create a roof. Super fun. This is a wall. This is a floor dock shape. Y'all don't be afraid of the shapes. Oh, and the moldings. Oh, there's so much cool stuff in there. You're going to have so much fun. Anyways, and these are glass partitions. If you're looking for glass walls for bathrooms, look up glass partition. Write that down. That is because everybody wants glass walls in their showers where like the shower stall and the really cool like solo standing tub is all enclosed within this gorgeous glass partition. There's a glass partitions. What are those under? There's probably they're probably under building, but you can just search products right up here. Glass partition. Partition. And there's going to be a ton of different styles that come out too. Some crazy ones, some basic ones. Some of them are just windows. But these are actually docked so you can, kind of create different spaces with them. Some of them are just kind of open. Some of them are frosted. I typically use these for bathrooms, glass partition 1, 4, and 3. Kind of went out of order there. I like those for use in bathrooms, but you can use any of the ones you want. Some of them are more frameless. Some of them have kind of cool hardware on them. And some of them have like a runner of like metal on the bottom and the top. So it just depends on how it was built in there. But there's a bunch of different options in there for you. Some really cool and some are sliding. Anyways, you'll have a lot of fun. Like the glass partition is also a super fun one because you see those in bathrooms all the time. And that's what I put in this one. I put 2 of them that I adjusted the size, and then I added the door. So it's a little bit more industrial looking for a bathroom. I probably wouldn't want something with the framing on the top, but that's just what I did when I was building out the space. Oh, that's another thing. Okay, I'm still thinking residential of like fun things for you. Okay, So my team has been awesome with adding additional model pieces for customizing bathrooms, because that's such a hot ticket item right now, especially in residential, whether it's a brand new build or like a value add property, or you're working with contractors, especially up here in the Northeast, where everyone wants to renovate their bathroom or their kitchen. So a lot of like styles and stuff that I'm seeing are people having an optional like one look for like a wall in the shower stall, a different look for the pan on the floor, another like tile that's for like an inset in the wall. So we don't have anything like that that's already pre-built. We do have one shower cabin that has like a subway tile with like so a subway tile on the wall, 3 glass walls, and then a herringbone for the basin on the bottom. But it's just kind of basic, and it's kind of fun to be able to really create your own, especially when it comes to space. So the way to do that, and honestly, for any backsplash or any kind of custom extra wall that you want to create, this is the piece that you want to find. I'm going to hit edit properties and we're going to look at it. This is a backsplash, and it actually comes out as a tiny little cube when you're looking in catalog. It's going to be under kitchen, but backsplash with pattern. It looks like this mosaic. This is what the original look is. But I love it because it is the best one in our catalog, I personally feel, for manipulating the size of it and then adding texture to it. It just, I don't know why, it's the magic one for all of this kind of stuff. So you're going to want to use this guy. And then again, see, he'll just come out as probably like a 2x3 like square, and you'll just click on him, resize it. You can resize this way using the cuboid thing, or you can hit edit properties and adjust the size of it here. And then if you want to change the texture, you click on this guy and you can apply a texture of your own, or you can go into our textures and apply one of these and just click drag and drop. I think this was just like a basic like marble stone that I chose for this one. And again, you click on it to scale the texture, which is just that piece, and then you can adjust the scale of it. But again, this one just scales really well. I really like this backsplash. It's just easy for making it more custom. And then I haven't done it on this yet, so we can do it together. You can create your own basin. So this one is not going to be flush to the ground. I know sometimes you can do like a flush to the ground shower if you need to, especially if there's like sloping in the floor and stuff. I think that lends it well to that kind of style if this were all like one piece of marble, which it looks like. And then you'd have like a drain, which we do have drains. I just haven't added it. But again, going back to shapes, I'm going to get my floor docked cube. Oops, there we go. I mean, there are some, I think there were just some that popped up. There's a couple of shower basins in there that are already built that you can manipulate and change. But these are going to be all of my floor docked cubes. And I think I'm just going to grab the solid one, add it to my short list, and then add it to project. And I'm going to drop him right here. And then I'm going to resize him. So I want to make sure I hit the right spot for him. Where are you? There you go. So that's the thing, especially when working in bathrooms, it's always going to be a bit tighter unless you just, you have like a 20-foot bathroom, which I'm sure we would all love. We don't want to clean a 20-foot bathroom. Come on. That was a joke, guys. It was a good one, right? Sorry, this thing froze on me. Come on. All right, hold on. Let me go back to him. Oh my. Okay, this got tired. Hold on. All right, there we go. He freaked out. That's okay. And that might happen sometimes. My computer's kind of tired because I've been doing a lot of demos today, which is also a maintenance thing. Make sure you restart your computer every day because this is a cloud-based software. So when your internet cache and everything starts to build up on your internet history, it can slow things down. If you have multiple windows open at the same time, it can slow things down. If you're in a web chat with people, it can slow things down. But overall, we are the lightning fast interior design software. So it won't always happen, but if it ever does, it's okay. All right, I'm going to restart this one. That's okay. So we're in this guy right now. This one has this bathroom, as you can see, I love white marble. It just makes me happy. This one actually has that basic shower cabin already built into it, and you can adjust all of like the textures in here. That's no problem. I'm sorry, guys. All my stuff is slowing down. There we go. So this one already has a shower basin built in with that. But again, if you wanted to go back and create that your own custom thing, you would just size down that shape so that it was, you know, a little bit more of a lip, apply a texture to it, a tile to it, scale it, and then boom, it's done. It's super fun. And you can even apply a drain to it so it looks even more realistic. So you can get super detailed. So there's that. All right. So that was the fun bathroom stuff. What else did I want to do with that? I think that was it. Let's go back to lighting because I wanted to do lighting. I got off on a tangent about bathrooms. All right. So you can apply any of the lighting that we have in our catalog in 3D, but I like to apply it in 2D because then you can find ceiling plan mode. Dun, 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 dun. Isn't that cool? And once you click on something, you can see where it's located in the space, which is super useful. You can edit the properties, so you can adjust like the size of it and everything. The height is what's going to adjust the drop from the ceiling. That will skew the size of it. So the best way to adjust the size of it, honestly, is in 3D with the resize tool. But you can do a lot in 2D. I like this just for finding the right symmetry for where things should be placed. Like obviously these are all out of whack and you want these to be not out of whack. Also, another tip is sometimes the AI fights you, as you probably, if you've been using Neo, you might know. So the way to override that is to hit the shift button and hold it while you're moving something around. And then it'll give you control of it. And some things just want to continue fighting. That's okay. There we go. Boom. That looks better. All right. So I'm going to go back into 3D and then I'm going to flip this back over. And you can see I added a couple of different things in there. So I'm going to double click on this guy. Let's get a little bit closer. Zoom in. He's kind of fun looking. And I'm going to resize him. So I love it that we've added on this feature of turning it into a cube so that you can really see all of the points. Yeah, all the push and pull. So you see I am pulling this up from the ceiling. The only problem with that is that it adjusts the entire piece. So you cannot just isolate the cord. It makes the whole thing stretch out. So you just have to be careful with which piece that you choose. Sometimes it looks right. Sometimes it's just like, oh no, that's not right. But oops, go away. You don't want to see my emails. There we go. All right, sorry. Okay, that's not what we want to see. Sorry, guys, my computer's starting to freak out. I think it's tired. Oh my geez, sorry. All right. Here, let me get this down a little bit. All right, no, that probably won't happen. Okay, cool. So anyway, have any of y'all been able to kind of explore the catalog yet with different types of lightings and stuff like that? Yeah, okay, good. Good. Oh, is that a cat or a dog? I can't tell. There's little tails wagging, Crystal. Cute dogs. Oh my God. I have a little fur baby too. That's so cool. Uh, oh my God. Okay, that's awesome. Yay. Oh wait, for that point, we have a dog. Well, we have a pug. It's kind of ugly, but we do have. And I know it's a here he is. There he is. That's him. And you can change what his little collar says and stuff if you want to. But yeah, so we have a dog, so you guys can add your little furry friends to the space if you want to. But going in the catalog when it comes to, I know that you guys are going to be working on lighting design and stuff too. I don't know if that means you're actually be building out pieces for lighting, but we do have a pretty substantial catalog of lighting pieces that are in here. We have fun concept light too that are great for applying for under cabinets if you want under cabinet lighting. Um, there's so many different types. And honestly, every time I look in here, I freak out because there's more. Ooh, they've added more stuff for outside. That's cool. Okay, cool. And again, anything in here you can edit. If you don't want this to be brass, you want it to be like chrome, you can do that. If you want to change the color of the shade, you can do that. You can change these materials. You can play with those natural materials and more commercial pieces as well. So you can kind of adjust what that stuff's going to look like. You can't adjust the tone of the light on the object, but you can adjust the tone of the light when you render. So we'll kind of play with that too. Ooh, that one's pretty. Sorry, there's so many cool things in here. Okay, cool. So anyways, you can do like a basic search up here for something that you're looking for. You can go, all over those kind of things as well. So there's a bunch of things that you can do. If you do want to like kind of create an exterior, it's kind of finicky. You have to get to a kind of a weird angle to be able to create that, but then you can drag and drop like exterior lights on here as well. Sometimes I put like a wall mounted piece to kind of give more interest and break up a wall if it's, an exterior space. This is just like a fun little outdoor kitchen I started working with, just trying to build my dream home. And but yeah, you can do a lot of fun stuff like that too. So I guess let's go into render and I'll show you like the lighting things with that to kind of achieve different tones of lighting and stuff for your space, which is definitely going to be important, I think. Because, I mean, yes, there's the physical lighting, but there's also creating the tone of the space as well. Ooh, that is too far in. All right. So one of the great things about Neo, God, those lemon covers are awful. One of the best things about Neo is that you do have the ability to adjust how the sunlight comes into the space. So if you're not going to render off an image that's at nighttime and you do want to have that flow of the light coming in, this is your sun down here, which you can adjust of what time of day or whatever you're facing, how it flows in. And this is the specific thing that makes your images, your rendered images, just look a little bit more lifelike. It kind of softens the edges of things so it doesn't look so cartoony. I mean, obviously this is very cartoony because this is the space that we're working in. But when you have that final rendered image, it's really great to be able to create these beautiful spaces with like, ooh, that's pretty, with different lighting design. So usually what I do is I start with my tone. So I'll choose morning, evening, or night. If you're working in a space that's kind of brighter, I'd say, like the colors and stuff are kind of brighter. Low intensity is fine. If you're working with a very dark space where everything's black and gray and all the, everything is super like sharp, go with higher intensity lights because that's going to help everything pop a little bit more. Otherwise, it might end up showing a little too dark and you'll miss some of your textures and everything. And then obviously, if your space has like an open window or door or anything that goes to the outside, you can choose what kind of environment you want. So we have like this isn't actually representative of that. That's more nature. But a city environment during the day will have some like kind of like it's just like a generic building, like city look with like street lights and stuff like that. The nature will be more like trees, rolling hills, and clouds. And obviously nighttime will be more like that nighttime skyline. You can also create it without any environment. It's whatever you want to do. We do have a piece that you can add in at the 2D level that looks like an exterior wall. And what it will show up as we've got like kind of like just a city view on that. It's just called environment. when you're looking in your catalog, which you can also click on that, change the texture to a picture of something you want to see. So if you have a view of the school or an area that you're designing for, what you're inspired by, as long as that image is a higher quality, you can apply it to that environment wall. However, I will say that if you're going to do that, when you hit submit to make the render happen, make sure you do a normal render. So it's going to take a little bit longer. Typical renders take less than 10 minutes for ultra fast 4K. It's going to be less than 10 minutes to render, but a normal render could take up to 20 minutes depending on the level of detail, just because you don't want to miss it. For some reason, applying an image to that one piece just slows down. I'm not sure why, but you can make it happen. So if that's important to you, you can do that. So that's another little trick. So anyways, you can render that image and it's super fun. You can see like the progress of your image being rendered over here. And let's see, these are kind of cool. I'll open this guy for you. And we can take a look at that. So just a quick download and we can view him or her. And dun, 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 dun. So obviously this is a virtual image. It's obvious, you know that this isn't real. But when you add in that lighting, it just makes it feel a little bit warmer. It kind of brings the life to it. And that's so important. Another little point, I need to tuck those in a little bit more. That's also part of my angle. But those are just, here, let me show you. That's just some lighting stuff that we have in the catalog. Let me see if I have them under shortlist. I should. Oops, shortlist. Lighting. I've got all kinds. So yeah, that's a warm strip light. So it's usually about a foot long, and then you can just like adjust it for how long you want it to be. But those are great. If you've got a really cool, so I just need to tuck this guy in a little bit more. Move. Go this way. There we go. So that way he won't show up as much when I take my angle. Now, all of the lights in Neo will automatically turn on. Sometimes you'll find one that just happens to not have had the light turned on to it in the 3D model level, but it should just turn on when you go to render. So that's that kind of stuff, and changing tone and all of that. And that's kind of it in a nutshell. That's kind of all I've got for you. I'd love to take any questions that you guys have and walk through those before I need to let you guys go.
That image that you were just looking at, where you like checked the progress of the rendering, that wasn't the actual picture that we're looking at right now, was it?
Oh, this photo is that is this space, but that's not the render that I just took. That was a different render. Yeah, because you see the pendant lights are different on the island here. Yeah, I think but you can see all of the renders that you take for one project. So these are all of the renders I've taken for this project. So it started very different and actually that was a totally different space. And then I turned it into a different space. So you can keep recreating, which is kind of cool. But yeah.
And then like as far as, again, you looked at the rendering and you realized that the lighting underneath the captain was too low.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be something that you have to go back and use another credit to re-render it once you adjusted it, right? It's maybe something that you wouldn't see until after you get the image rendered.
Exactly. Exactly. So, I mean, I would say that if you're in kind of you're trying to adjust things to kind of get it where you want it to be, I would say if you're unsure if the space is perfect, then render at a lower quality. And that's only one credit. So here, let me show you. Submit. So just an HD quality render is 1 credit. and so you see that's just going to cost you 1 credit. A 2K or a 4K, both of these are going to cost you 3 render credits. So the HD is only 1, but you can always add on render credits if you need to. That's going to be under your plan. You should be able to just like add on. Oh, Crystal, you're from Head Studio.
Yeah.
I remember you. If I have Head Studio, okay, yeah, I remember you now. Hi, I'm so glad you made it. No, you're perfectly fine. No, I was just thinking, I was like, wait a second, because the students, yeah, see, if you were still a student, then you would have unlimited renders. Guys, learn from Crystal. Renders right now are free for you, but in the future, they will not be free. So understand that every time you take a render, it's going to cost you money. But right now it doesn't, because we love you and we want you to be the best at Neo and in life. And so we're hoping that you're just going to be awesome at it. But in the future, just realize that renders are not free. And but we are the cheapest ones on the market, so that I know of. So it's pretty good. All right. Any other questions, guys? We've got Taylor on here and Lola and Brianna. Anybody else? All right, guys. Well, I have recorded this. So, and I'm going to send the link to Jessica at RMC80 to share with all of you, and you can share with your friends and stuff. If you haven't already signed up for Neo, please sign up. It's awesome. I think it's just $1 a month, and it's billed 3 months at a time for students, which is great. Sorry, Crystal, go back to school. Crystal, re-enroll. And it's not that bad, though. It's not that bad. It's not like $3,000 for a license for AutoCAD. Yeah, like so for, just so y'all know, for like in the real world, not that you're not in the real world, but when you're outside of the educational system, a basic Neo plan starts at $50 a month, and you get 10 render credits per month, which isn't a lot, but you can always add on. Sorry, you had a question. What was the question? Was it recorded? Yes, it was recorded. I am going to share this with the link to this to our YouTube channel with Jessica, so that she can send it out to all of you to be able to use this.
Is there a way to just be cool, kind of up to date with whenever these webinars are going to take place with the professionals of Neo?
Yeah.
It helps me to watch people do it. I learned that.
Actually, perfect timing for that question, because I am actually meeting with one of our team members who did that. There was a tutorial, I think, last week or the week before that I think that you were going to join up for. And we're going to start working out how often and when I'll actually be giving additional webinars. And I'm going to make sure that that's either through an emailer or like a Neo, like insider type thing, because that's another thing. We're trying to create a community. We want y'all to be able to collaborate together, to work together. And also, we want to be able to refer work to our designers as well, which is something that keeps coming up to me. Some developers that I work with in the residential world don't want to do any of this. They want designers to create their own renders. So I'll just be like, oh, well, here's a list of Neo users. They are designers and they can create stuff for you. So this is also another great option for building that community and getting work. So that is something else that we're also hoping to accomplish this year as well. So yeah, as soon as I have additional webinars up and running, then we'll make sure that you all, even if you're at school, we'll make sure all of you are in the loop on that. Of course. All right, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to join. Let everybody you know about Neo. Know about Neo. Tell everybody. Share your designs. #Neo. I'm super prevalent on LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn now, get on LinkedIn. It's very important for business, but in general. But yeah, tag us in your rendered images. Send me your rendered images. I want to see what you guys are creating. Ashley at Foyr.com. That's Foyr.com. Yeah, I'd love to see it. We're going to be running some contests over the next few months as well that I'd love y'all to join in on. Yeah, we're going to keep going. Happy New Year, guys. And thank you again so much for joining us.